Yes.
Well, you tell us more about Sultan Mehmet and how he, at a very early age, could accomplish such a big deed, conquering the castle.
Sultan Mehmet Fatih Han, Hazretleri. It's a very big subject. I cannot get into it too much. But he was trained. Not only was he trained from very young to get that, his father was trained. Not only that, his grandfather was trained. Because what the sultans in the old days, what they did, they were not looking to conquer lands to become richer, to have more power. They were aiming what Allah is promising them. You understand? They are aiming what Prophet ﷺ was looking for, they aim to that. And Prophet ﷺ said, the one who conquers Constantinople, Istanbul, the general is the best of the general. Best means from beginning of Adam alayhi salam right till Yawm al-Qiyamah, the best. And the army, it is the best of the armies. There's no condition there. So from the time of Hazrati Osman, understand, for the time of Hazrati Osman, he was already sending people there, sending armies there to enter into Constantinople. That's why Sultan, Ayyub Sultan, the Sahabi, he was there. It's important now, it's another long story, that where he passed, he's buried there. He's buried there, and then that area there become holy. You gain access to it already. Spiritually, we've already claimed it. Later, when other emperors, the Greek kings, when other ones they came and they threatened to dig up the grave of Hazrati Ayyub Ansari, Ayyub Sultan, I believe at that time, who was that? Hazrati Muawiyah, one Khalifah. He's saying, if you do that, I will make sure that not a single church is going to be standing in the whole area that we are controlling, in Arabia all the way to Egypt. And every church is still standing from that time until now. Every synagogue is still standing from that time until now. There are temples in India that has been ruled by the Muslims for 1,000 years. They're still standing from that time until now. So that king now stopped. He didn't dare touch. So what are we trying to say now? That there was an aim. It wasn't Sultan Mehmet Fatih Han. He was the one, yes, who did it. But what he did was the effort and the prayers of so many that's before him. That his father wanted to do it, but it wasn't given to his father. He became a governor. Then they pulled him and they made him to become the Khalifah, to become the Sultan. At the time it was a Sultan. He ruled for a while, but he was a man who also knew himself. He says, I don't want to do this, I cannot. Now he has to step down and his father has to come and take over. Correct? He was known as the eagle. It says, you cannot even imagine what I'm trying to reach, what I'm going to reach. So, what was he running after? He was running after the praise of the Prophet ﷺ. If you're running after the praise of the Prophet ﷺ, then that time you're going to get yourself ready. Because you're not running for your own ego. You're not running to gain yourself, something for yourself. So what are we here for? Something for yourself, you will get it. If you want wife, if you want job, if you want this, you are going to get it. But this is just trash of the world. It's just toys, candy. If you want jewels, there's something that they can give to you too. Those ones in the old days, they were aiming for jewels. That's why they became a sultan. And they became the sultan of dunya and akhirat. He was only 21. And he understood the mission. He understood his legend. You understand? He was already a living legend. He understood. And this is something that Shaykh Efendi wants to put inside the ummah. That is in the ummah. He wants to put inside this association that we are all sleeping and tired and lazy from our own ego and our own dunya, that you have a sleeping legend inside of you. That he's trying to wake it up for us to aim higher than this dunya that we're being busy with. And we'll be involved in that war that is going to be the greatest war. Are we understanding? It is the greatest war. Marhamat al-Kubra. It is the greatest war. Where are we going to be in the greatest war? Are we keeping it alive? Are we preparing ourselves for it? If you are, your spirit is going to be different when you step into the Dergah. Your heart is going to beat different. But we're seeing your heart and your minds is beating different for dunya. It starts beating for the dunya. When it comes to akhirat, everyone dead. This is what Shaykh Efendi is putting in us. This is what he's preparing beyond the mountain of Kaf right now with the awliya Allah. They are all gathered, leaving this world. That's why you see more everywhere is burning. The awliya Allah, they're no longer putting their hands to protect it. In the land of the Abdals, in Sham al-Sharif, it doesn't have any Sharif anymore. Why is that? If the awliya, they're supposed to protect what it means when they're not protecting. Understand? And they are looking. They are busy and they are looking. Never forget they are looking. So many of you, you forget. They are looking and they're seeing, what are we doing to prepare ourselves? Are we fighting? Are we fighting with our shaitan and our nafs? You cannot fight against the armies of Dajjal if you're not fighting against your shaitan and your nafs. Majority don't even know about the nafs. Majority don't even understand it, don't want to believe in it. How are you going to fight against Dajjal that time? It's impossible. It is impossible. Oh, but if I recite Surah Al-Kahf, it's going to be. Don't you think what you know, they also know? What you know, they also know. So how effective is that going to be? Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Then you're still not getting it. It is not the physical action that is there. It is where the heart is getting connected to. How are you going to test yourself where your heart is connected to? Very easy. See what is occupying you. What is making you to be passionate. See what is making you to feel happy. See what is making you to be busy. And if it's not good things, adjust it. If it's dunya, adjust it. Make it to go to akhirat. Because those ones, they live and they died for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they are even very rough and tough with that singular vision. They don't let anyone. It doesn't matter to them now whether people like them or they don't like them. Because they're looking to please Allah, to get that, to fulfill their destiny. Maybe there are some people that did not like Sultan Mehmet Fatih because he's so tough. He is a sultan, of course he has to be tough. When the advisors said to him, we cannot cross because there is water, he said, why don't you take the water out? He says, why don't you take the water out now? They say, we cannot because there are mountains there and we have ships. Ships go in the water. Why can't the ships go on top of the mountains? How a man can think like that when he says nothing is going to stop? And he's not just coming up with ideas just like that, crazy ideas. He knows when he gives an idea, he already knows there are not one answer, there are many answers there. But the people around him, if they're not on the same page, they're just going to be nothing but blocking him, that's all. And imagine if there are people that are not blocking and they just take that and they just run with it. They say, okay, it can be done, we're going to find something, instead of saying no. And did he bring the ships across the mountains? He did. He shook the hearts of the Greeks. And they're saying, what kind of a magician is this? And when he entered Constantinople, did he destroy any church? No. Did he massacre everyone, like so many people saying? No. He left everything intact except for one, Hagia Sophia. And in reality, Hagia Sophia is already a masjid. Holy Prophet ﷺ put his saliva into the soil when the advisors of the Byzantine came to him and saying, we're going to put the largest freestanding dome on the face of the earth, but it's not resting, it's not staying. It's a huge engineering miracle at that time. It was the biggest church in Christianity. Prophet ﷺ put his holy saliva mixed with the earth, gave it 4, and saying that put on each corner, and it will stand. And it stood. The Greeks never put any statues inside the church. No statues. They put some mosaics around. No statues. And the Prophet ﷺ prayed because one day there's going to be a house of Allah. And it did. Of course, some munafiq alims saying they're Muslims, but they're saying they want to turn that church back, that masjid back into a church. They're saying, I want to give it back to the Russians. It's unusual times we're living in. Why not? There are also alims saying you should celebrate Milad and Nabi Isa on 25th, where you celebrate the pagan holiday of the early pagan deities. There's not even the exact date. They say it doesn't matter. So what matters? What matters to you? Well, it doesn't matter that it's a fake day. It doesn't matter that they're celebrating the Son of God, Hasha, Astaghfirullah. It doesn't matter. Just say Merry Christmas. So nothing matters to you, huh? That is bidat. They're saying, no, you must be tolerant, you must love, and you must do this. But in 1,400 years, the Muslims have lived alongside Jews and Christians all this time. And we did good. You don't have to compromise the rules of Allah and His Prophet now, alayhi salatu wasalam. Show me a place in Christianity or in Judaism where Muslims have lived in their capital and Muslims are employed to be in their governments and to rule also for 1,400 years. They don't even allow it today, right now, in this country. So we're falling back into Jahiliyyah. We're not moving forward to enlightenment. Enlightenment is only with Allah and with Islam. Nothing else. You think that you light one candle, you're so proud. Finish. What are you doing now? Because you think you are the one lighting it. So we have to have a mission. We're not here to fight or to have challenge anyone. We are here hoping for the light of that Prophet ﷺ to bring justice, yes, and tolerance, yes, and love, yes, to people, all peoples. So they were running for that. What are we running for? In these days that the Khilafat was removed, that the majority of the Muslims don't care for this. They don't care. Both Ahli Sunnah or Ahli Tasawwuf for this, nobody seems to care, except for exceptions here and there. The biggest catastrophe ever, that the Khilafat was removed and the Khilafat office was veiled. Nobody cares. Yeah, we should care. Our hands are tied. We should say Astaghfirullah, and we should ask Allah at least sincerely. And we're asking Allah to forgive us for the wrong things that we have done to our Khalifahs, for the wrong things that we have done to Sultan Abdul Aziz and Sultan Abdul Hamid Khan. And we're asking them to forgive us. And inshallah, if they forgive us, Allah will forgive us. We are here not to live for our ego and for our dunya. We're here to live for Allah and His Prophet ﷺ, to continue the mission that they started. May we live for this, may we die for this. May all good, sincere people come. May all the hypocrites from inside of us and outside be away from us, inshallah. May Allah send us more power to do this work. May Allah protect us from all evil and bad nazar in this work. May Allah bring all the sincere ones together, inshallah. May we always be dust under the feet of our Shaykh. For the sake of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, Sultan al-Awwal and SahibulSaif, al-Fatiha. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This much is enough. Assalamu alaikum.